Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Here we are once again. It's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning in London at 1 a.m. And it's also Friday morning in Tokyo, Japan at 9 a.m. Here we are. They're up and at 'em, ready to go. And here we are. It's another edition of Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan. So glad to have you aboard with us. And we're going to be here for the next hour, all hour long. And in that hour, we're going to engage you in conversation, and we're going to just get everybody involved in. Now, especially the new people who are just coming in for the first time. And I hope there's not many. I hope a lot of you guys, well, let me put it this way. I love every week when we have new people every week. I love that if that's the truth. But just in case you're just joining us, the show operates this way. As the host of the show, you know, I'm going to throw out the topics, get things rolling, and make sure that everything is okay as we go along. Now, in between all of that, you can chime in on conversation as well. Now, all you have to do is use your little fingers, your keyboard right there on your computer, on your tablet, and on your cell phone. All you have to do is type whatever you want to say right there, and I hope they're nice words that you want to say. And type it right there, and I'll see you right there on the big screen. I will acknowledge it. If you have any questions about the show or anything at all you have to do is just type, and I'll see you right there on the big screen. You may have questions, you may want to critique the show, whatever it is, or you just may want to join in on conversation. That's the main thing. Let's join in on conversation. And if there's anything in particular that you want to talk about, all you have to do is just type it in, and we'll just acknowledge that as well, because, of course, we want you part of the show. It's all about free exchange, ideas of an opinion, and we all have those. And so we talk to everything. We talk about everything. We could talk about your pets. We could talk about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your nieces, your nephews, whatever, you know. I'm not a total expert on every subject, but there's certain things that we could talk about that someone may be out there watching, may be able to answer your questions about that. However, it's here. It's free exchange of opinions and ideas. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for being along with us. And just in case you are watching us, we're coming from 3 different places. And we're coming live on Facebook. We're on YouTube, and we're also live on Instagram. So I see a lot of people are starting to come in. So I just want to wave and just say howdy, howdy, hearty. Welcome to each and every one of you. And those of you who are watching us on Facebook, take the time right now as we speak, because we're just getting started. Take the time right now. It doesn't cost you a lot of time. All you have to do, it takes a few seconds to tag this show to your friends. I know you have a lot of friends on your Facebook page, right? Now, if you have like over 1,000 people, you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, of course, if you want to, that's you. Invite a few friends, maybe just one special one that want to get involved in with us. And if they're here for the first time and they come in and they see and they like what they hear, and they'll see you, they'll see me, and they may become part of the show as well, just like you. Those of you who are watching us on YouTube, as I always do each week, I encourage you to take the time and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're on there right now, so you'll see where it says subscription or subscribe. All you have to do is take your mouse, place it right on that button, and click it, and that's all it takes. What was that? Does it cost anything? No money involved, nothing involved. It takes just a second, just a click, just one click. That's all it costs you. It's just one click, and you're in. Now, the benefit of clicking on and subscribing to the YouTube channel is that whenever we come on live and you kind of maybe forget about the show and you're online and you see a pop up there that lets you know that we're right there, or if we so much as post a video, the notification will pop up right there, and you can go directly, because once you click onto that notification, it brings you directly to the YouTube channel, and you can see what's going on there. So there you have it. That's all it takes. And tell your family and friends too. the newcomers, click on. It's easy. And those of you who are watching us on Instagram, well, we welcome you each week. We invite you to continue to follow us, tell your family and friends about us, and let them know that we're out here and we're out here for you. And in conjunction with interacting with you, of course, we do our regular thing too. We have coming up this particular half hour, not too far away in the show, Brian Camp is coming along. We're going to link up with him from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's going to do sports. He has the latest developments in today's world of sports, and the name of his show is called Sports Update, and he'll be updating us with all of what's happening in sports and letting us know what's happening in the latest developments in today's world of sports. That's coming up not too far away. Also, later on in the program, I have our other feature, what we call This Day in History. We have anything that happened on this particular day, June 8th. We have go back in time and find out what happened, all events or some events that happened, important events that happened on this day in history on June 8th. That's coming up not too far away. And then before the show is over, before we get to the end of all of that, we promise you we're going to give you some information about movies. Now I have my picks of the week. Now I do this each week. I have my picks of the week of movies to add to your bucket list of what to watch, just in case you are one of those kind of people that enjoy your weekends, but one of the part of the weekends you like to indulge in is catching up on some movies. Well, I have some old ones, and they're my picks of the week, and I'm going to relate all of that to you. That's all coming up right here on Talkback Live. So thank you so much for being along with us. Tell your family and friends to join us. Again, you know, you're watching us on Facebook. Make sure that you get a chance to tag all of your friends. Let them know that we're out here. Bring them all in. We would love to have them. And I'll see you right there on the big screen. You'll see us too, and you'll see everybody involved. Remember, all of the view and the opinions expressed on this show, Talkback Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinion of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any other social media outlet or broadcast facility. How's that? We're underway now. We're officially underway, and we don't have to talk about any more than that. Boy, it's been quite a week today. And when you thought that you had a handle on life, when you thought it was all over, you thought it was good, what you know, there's more obstacles to climb. And even though you know they always say Wednesday is hump day, and once you get to Wednesday, you got to get over the hump. You're over the hump. Well, here we are Thursday, and of course, a lot of you have heard the news by now that they had that big wildfire that came out of Canada, right? And everyone is feeling the effects. Everyone is feeling the effects. Let me tell you. And in some places here in New York, where we are, right? We had we didn't feel anything. Let me tell you a story. It all started on Monday. Now I don't know when exactly the fire started. That big fire started. That wildfire, as they call it. I don't know when it started in Canada, but I do notice when I was in my doctor's office, I was visiting my doctor, one of my doctors. I went to visit her on Monday, and just before I was leaving her office, I noticed I started sneezing. And then I sneezed again, and then again. It just wouldn't stop. It just kept sneezing and sneezing and sneezing, and I never thought anything about it. Never thought much about it. And so so I'm assuming maybe that fire started Monday around that time, because in Canada, I think they're like 4 hours difference ahead of us. I think they're ahead. Are they ahead of us? Yeah, I think they're 4 hours. No, they're 4 hours behind us where we are. We're Eastern, and they're Pacific. So they're 4 hours behind us. So right now we're after 8 o'clock here in New York, and they're after 5 o'clock right now where they are. And so I started sneezing. That was sneezing. It was like maybe about a little after 11 o'clock my time here in New York. So I'm kind of trying to fit the puzzle together. In any event, on Tuesday, you know, it was more of that. You started smelling smoke, but I didn't think of anything. You know, we're in New York. We have places, people burn things. people burn bad food or whatever it is, But yesterday was something else. Yesterday was the topper. It was so foggy. I mean, the sun didn't even come out. It was so foggy. It was orange. Any way you looked, if you look, and I'm pretty sure if you go on Facebook, you've seen postings of people. They were posting pictures of the people of the skylines here in New York. I posted one myself, but I didn't get a chance to see the orange. So by the time I started doing that, I started clicking it, but it wasn't orange at that time. I guess I was late to snap the orange shots. But I do know the smoke was so thick. It was so thick. It was like almost a smog. The smoke was so bad that even when the windows were closed, I could still smell it. And even today, it's kind of clearing out now. It's looking better than it was before. And each passing day that comes along, it's going to get better and better. But you can still smell the smoke even now. You can still smell the smoke. However, it's not as bad as it was yesterday. So when you close your windows, so if all the windows are closed now, you won't be able to smell the smoke. But when you go outside, you can smell the smoke, and people are wearing masks. It almost looks like a revision of the pandemic. People are wearing masks again. Some people weren't, and some people did. And it was urged for people, and still urging people, to wear a mask this time for smoke, because this is dangerous. It's like they say it's an equivalent of smoking 7 cigarettes. 7 cigarettes. That's a lot of cigarettes, all right? And I can tell you about cigarettes, all right, because I was a chain smoker at one time. And that's the thing that I don't need. I don't need this kind of action going on right now. I'm a recovering cigarette addict. And I was chain smoking at one particular point. And so chain smoking, that's 20 packs, got 20 in a pack. So you're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 cigarettes a day. It's a lot of cigarettes, all right. But they say this was like an equivalent of 7 cigarettes. That's still a lot of cigarettes to smoke. So now over in Philadelphia, they get the thick of it all, and they're in the thick of it all now because the winds are blowing over, and they're blowing further south. I don't know. We're going to have to check when Brian comes in. We're going to have to check and see with him and see if he got any of some of the action that we had here. But it was pretty bad, and we had here in New York was the worst condition. The air, it was the worst that ever happened. Now we've had pretty bad air once in a while, but this was the worst. And so each day, as I say, each passing day, it gets a little better and better. And I would say about Monday, maybe we'll get back into a normal life, at least. Now, I don't know what the situation and the status is in Canada now as far as those fires are concerned, but it's not uncommon for brush fires and wildfires to occur in Canada. And of course, this happens to be part of the action of climate change. And one of the things that we have to, all of us together would have to do something about, instead of talking about these other things, about drag queens and how it's affecting our children. That's not an issue. This is an issue. So hopefully, things will work out. We don't know. We're going to find out what if you're on with us. And if you'd like to give us information on your status of where you are, let us know where you are as far as the smoke is concerned. But we're getting better here. We're getting better here. And boy, don't forget, we're in the midst, and we want to also mention that it's Pride Month. So we're in the midst of that, and we want to say, send out the love to our brothers and sisters and the LGBTQ community. Send the love. God loves you. And it's the celebration all month long of Pride. We noticed that also Pope Francis is back in the hospital. he undergo surgery on Wednesday, and it came out pretty good. So thank God for that. No complications at this point, but they're going to hold him in the hospital for several days. And Brazilian singer Astrid Gilberto, who popularized bossa nova music in the 1960s, also with the likes of Antonio Carlos Jobim and Stan Getz, and also known for a smash hit, The Girl from Ipanema, that wonderful song. Everyone loves that, nice Brazilian song. She passed away Monday at the age of 83 years old. And that's a great loss. She was one of the innovators, and she made bossa nova popular here in the United States in the 1960s. So we are sorry to hear about that. Comedian Pat Cooper, you may not remember him. Comedian Pat Cooper. They call him the angry stand-up comic. He's always angry, but he wasn't really an angry man, but that was part of his shtick on stage. All right. He passed away Tuesday at his home in Las Vegas, and he was 93 years old. And also another Pat, this time Pat Robinson, longtime TV host, religious broadcaster, education, humanitarian, but at the same time, he was famous for blaming gays for 9/11 and blacks for hurricanes. And he was a one-time presidential candidate. He died at his home in Virginia Beach early Thursday morning, and he was 93 years old. So we sent out all of our prayers to all of their families. And, also you already know that we hate broadcasting news like that, but we just want to give you that information because it's part of entertainment, and we specialize in entertainment and all kinds of other things. Okay, so that's going to do it for that. You'll talk more about that if you like. You'll be part of that. Right now, we're going to go over to Charlotte, North Carolina, and Brian Camp is with us right now, and he's got the latest developments in today's world of sports. Brian, let me ask you a question. I know I spoke to you yesterday. I called you personally. What are the conditions now in Charlotte?
Well, the air quality went from a cold orange to a cold yellow. So it went down some, so it's a little bit better, but we didn't really feel nothing. I just got grubby, my eyes are dry, my eyelids are dry, but no smoke, sun was out. It's been cloudy a bit, but I think it was supposed to be cloudy anyway. It was scheduled to be cloudy, but we're better from the cold. Some areas went to almost red at one time. Maybe in the East Coast, I know Newark Airport was shut down, closed. LaGuardia was shut down. JFK wasn't quite shut down as of yet. I don't know what the latest is. But we weren't shut down. We was told to stay indoors today. In the schools that I work in, they told us don't come out unless if you really have to. Keep the kids inside the school. So it was more just to protect yourself for people that have asthma and other ailments and everything. But I wore my mask. I was gonna wear my goggles too. I have some ski goggles, but didn't really have to wear them. It wasn't as severe as they thought it was here, at least in North Carolina.
Yeah, well, it was bad here in New York. It was.
I saw the pictures. Yeah, I know.
It was terrible. It was so bad that when you look out the window, anything that you normally see, like the skylines, it was there. It was like everything went up in a rapture. It was nothing there.
Yeah,
It was bad, and that was no time to spend outside. It was no time to spend in a outdoor cafe. They urge people not to eat outside and stay in the house. But it's getting better now. It's starting to clear up a little bit, and I hope at least by Monday we'll be back to complete normalcy.
Yeah, I'm supposed to make a trip to New York, as you know, as I told you that for one day. Yeah, I'm in and out, and I don't know.
Bring your mask with you anyway.
Oh, I was gonna bring my mask anyway. Yes, definitely. Just hoping that I'm flying in, but I'm going to take the train back. So hopefully, LaGuardia, which is the airline that I'm coming in, hopefully the LaGuardia Airport will reopen and all flights will be on schedule or close to schedule. So I'm hoping for that. I'll get the latest details tomorrow, see if they reopen LaGuardia Airport and find out. But yeah, it's been a rough go around for people in New York and in New Jersey. New Jersey might have gotten it worse because of all the factories that's out there.
Yeah.
And you made a statement that Canada is 4 hours difference from us. Yeah.
Yeah, they're Pacific. Not
No.
did I say 4 hours? I meant 3 hours.
No, they're same time zone. Same time zone. Canada.
I don't think so. The reason why I don't think so, because I remember when I was doing some broadcasting in Canada, maybe it's a different part, maybe certain parts of Canada, I don't know. But when I was broadcasting on this radio station in Canada, I do know it was like 4 hours difference. I'll double check on that. It's no big,
Yeah.
it's no biggie, but I'm pretty sure,
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was crazy for a while. You know, I hope it just get better. Just wearing it out, just waiting it out and see what's going to happen.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Um,
we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. If it's not one thing, it's another. We get over one thing and then something else comes up.
Okay, Canada has 6 time zones. Yeah, the time zone for the capital of Ottawa is used. Canada has the same time zone as New York.
Okay.
Yes. I just looked it up while we was talking. Well, Canada has the same time zone as New York, but they have 6 time zones.
Okay.
So, but they are considered North America and everything. But good evening to you and everybody else. Hope everybody's doing well under these conditions. Here in Charlotte, it is 73 degrees. Nice day today. But we had to be alert. We had to, like I said, we are yellow code now. We was orange, but we were yellow today. Because if it was red, it'd be really extremely bad, and who knows what to say. And we didn't know how worse that it was going to get. We're still not out of the woods yet. I hope the fire has stopped out there in Canada. Prayers are sent for not only for here in the United States, but in Canada too. I hope everybody be safe. But in sports, speaking of this here wildfire, the smoke had damaged a lot of areas in the New York area and on the East Coast, where Yankee Stadium and Major League Baseball had to postpone games in New York against the Yankees and the White Sox, and in Philadelphia versus the Detroit Tigers. This was on Wednesday night because of the poor air quality caused by the Canada wildfires. A National Women's Soccer League game in New Jersey and an indoor WNBA game was also canceled, was called off on Wednesday. They had resumed play, but the next day, the workers had to wear face masks for protections. Because, when you trying to work on these here arenas and stadiums, you got to wear something, you got to wear just to protect your eyes and whatever that you are inhaling. So they were able to wear face masks, but again, we don't know the extent of it right now, but here in Charlotte, it's an upgrade from orange to yellow. Hopefully in New York and the East Coast, it will be improved better. But some of these games were already made up already. In the NBA, Game 4 comes back on tomorrow. Game 3 was on yesterday between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets won in Miami, so they take a 2-1 game lead in the NBA Finals. You could catch Game 4 tomorrow at 8 p.m. On ABC. That's tomorrow, June 9th, NBA Game 4. So be prepared to watch some good basketball. Hopefully we'll have a better game than what we had from yesterday. In the NFL, 2 Cleveland Brown players were robbed at gunpoint by 6 masked men. Cornerback Greg Newsome and defensive tackle Perion Winfrey. Neither were harmed during the incident, but the 2 players left a nightclub early Monday morning when they got to Newsome's truck in a nearby parking lot. that's when 6 masked men just jumped out of an unknown car and robbed them. Another Cleveland Browns player last weekend had his car stolen last weekend. Backup running back Demetri Felton had his vehicle stolen in front of his apartment. Now they are in town in their cities or with states where they for training. So they just came back for training. They're going to start. We know this football season is only a couple months away, but they're coming into for training now. So they're getting prepared to try to get in shape. But if you go into these nightclubs, you're being watched. They know that football players and athletes and celebrities are going to attend. And these guys or women, you can't just say they're always men, are watching at all times, especially if you're making a lot of money as an athlete or a celebrity. You're being watched and you don't know when you're going to be set up. This day in sports, June 8th, 1950, Boston Red Sox rout the St. Louis Browns 29-4. Sound like a football game at Fenway Park. 6 major league records will occur, including 60 total bases. That means 60 total bases, which means a single, a double, a triple. Various players got on base and touch bases, so it's 60 total bases. A home run is 4 bases. A triple is 3. A double is 2 bases. A single, as you know, is 1 base. So that was a big game. It was a big score. 1955, Brooklyn Dodgers option cut, waived, whatever you want to call it, Tommy Lasorda to make room for legendary pitcher Sandy Koufax. Yes, Sandy Koufax was brought into 1955 when Tommy Lasorda was cut from the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1968, LA Dodgers pitches a record 58. Don Drazio pitched a record 58 consecutive scoreless innings. He did not give a run for 58 consecutive innings. That's a lot of zeros up on the board for not allowing your opponent to score any runs. 1969, Mickey Mantle gave his farewell speech during the Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium. 60,096 fans just to see number 7 get retired. Amazing. Staying on the Yankees, 1992, Yankee pitcher Steve Howe is banned from Major League Baseball for the 7th time. He was banned for drugs. At that time, alcohol still is banned. He was had to been in rehab for 7 different times in a rehab to get himself straightened out. And he eventually did not. He eventually had to been banned from baseball. Some people just have a weakness for certain drugs, and his was alcohol, among other drugs as well. Birthdays, 1944, Mark Belanger, Major League Baseball player, shortstop, won 8 Gold Gloves, was born in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. 1957, Don Robinson, Major League Baseball and World Series champion in 1979, was born in Ashland, Kentucky. And in 1970, Troy Vincent, NFL cornerback, was born in Trent, New Jersey. And in weddings, 1977, the late Bill Russell, at 43 years old, weds 1968 Miss USA Dorothy Astet at 39, but only they got divorced 3 years later. So that marriage did not last long, 3 years, but they did get married on this day. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports on a nice, warm, blended, beautiful day here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I hope that they don't have to cancel too many more of these games. I guess they do at this particular point because it's not going to be safe for the people in the stands, spectators to come in. But they canceled the Yankee game last night. I believe they have a game today, or had a game, or
they were scheduled for a doubleheader. I don't know if it's today or is it going to be at a later date.
Yeah,
but I think it's scheduled for a doubleheader. I think it is today.
Yeah. So, and then some teams, I think in Philadelphia, what did they canceled?
They canceled a Wednesday night game between the Phillies and the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
That game was probably already made up tonight. I think it is, because it's clearing up as far as I know.
Yeah.
It is clearing up.
And I looked up, because just before I got on the air, I looked up at the sky and I saw clouds. You didn't see clouds before. You know, you didn't see anything. It was just bland, you know, but now I look up at the sky, you could see the sun wasn't out, because we weren't expecting a sunny day anyway. But you know what we need here after all of this? A good soaking rain. That's what we need.
Well, it did rain. In fact, it did rain here last night. It did rain. We had some rain. It was no heavy downpour, but it did rain.
Yeah.
That helped, cleared it out and cleanse it out.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, so I guess we'll catch you back here tomorrow morning, same time?
At 10:05.
10:05. We'll be looking forward to doing that. Okay. Okay, you take care of yourself. Have a great one. And hey, by the way, after this whole thing is over, are you going to be unmute your mic? Will you unmute your mic? I accidentally muted.
Yes.
Are you going to be doing any being that it's not bad on where you are, you're going to be doing any barbecuing over there where you are?
No, the weekend is going to be, I'm going to be away, as you know, so I won't be able to do any no barbecuing. But the following weekend is Father's Day. Haven't decided yet what I'm going to do.
That's right.
I might cook myself something and honor myself and the fathers.
Well, when Father's Day come around, we'll wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day, and to all you mothers.
All you mothers, yes.
We'll catch you back tomorrow at 10:05.
Take care. All right.
Yeah, that's Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. Of course, he's here usually at this time. And of course, you heard the situations. They had to cancel some games because of the wildfire that came in from Canada, and it hit every place. It hit all over the place. Now, this is the summer months. These are the summer months now. Now, who knows? We don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I don't know if this is going to happen again. This is the first time I witnessed anything like this. But then again, it's the first time I witnessed a pandemic. So there's a first time for everything. And when you thought we were throwing away those masks, people were putting away their mask and breathing a sigh of relief, because they thought maybe, even though the pandemic is not really over, but it's back to normal as normal can be, everybody just pulled their mask out again. And I went out today. I was out today, about now, and I saw people were wearing their masks as if it was a pandemic. It just reminded me, it just flashed me back. It was like a pandemic again. And then on the other hand, there were some people that just didn't, I don't know, some people I guess just don't care. They just don't prefer not to wear masks, knowing that this smoke in the air can affect you breathing it in. And the mask is the thing. And if you don't believe that, I mean, I understand people, when the pandemic was here, people said, I don't have to wear the mask because I don't believe there's a pandemic going on. But what about all this smoke in the air? Do you believe in smoke? That smoke clouds the air and makes situations bad for your air supply? Do you believe in that? Well, anyway, the point is, a lot of people were being wise about it. They were wearing a mask, and they were wearing the mask on the buses and walking the streets, and they were there, and because there are a lot of people that do care about their health. Anyway, just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan, and I'm with you for the balance of the hour. We're here up until the top of the hour. And again, those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please, whatever time is left, give your friends a break and let them get in on part of the action. You can take the show and you can tag it to them right now. And again, for all of you people who are watching us on YouTube, you always know, and you're always invited and always encouraged to go onto our YouTube channel and subscribe to it. That'll give you an opportunity to know whenever we come on live. Subscribe, providing you have subscribed to the channel, whenever we come on live, you get notification. And even if we post a video of some sort, you'll get notification right there. So we look forward to seeing all of you guys come in and enjoy us. And those of you, again, who are watching us on Instagram, just keep following us and keep the word percolating. Tell your family and friends all about it. I think it's that time right now, don't you think? I think it's about that time. On this day in history, let's get it rolling right now. On this day in history, back in 1942, Bing Crosby records Silent Night. On this day in history, in 1946, Lute Song, starring Mary Martin, Yul Brynner, and Nancy Davis. You've known her as Nancy Reagan, who was married to Ronald Reagan. Yes, Nancy Davis was an actress. Anyway, they closed at the Plymouth Theater in New York City after 142 performances. On this day in history, in 1948, the Texaco Star Theater premieres on NBC TV with Mr. Television Milton Berle, who made permanent MC in September of that same year. Also on this day in history and the same year, in 1948, the revival of Jerome Kern's musical Sally closes at the Martin Beck Theater in New York City after 36 performances. On this day in history, in 1956, WDAM TV, Channel 7 in Laurel, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That's an NBC station that was starting their very first broadcast. And on this day in history, back in 1963, Mr. President closes at the St. James Theater in New York City after 265 performances. Back in 1963, the American Heart Association was the first agency to campaign against cigarettes. Back in 1964, The Little Old Lady from Pasadena was recorded by the 1960s American pop singer Jan and Dean. That was released that year. Back in 1965, U.S. troops was ordered to fight offensively in Vietnam. In 1968, James Earl Ray, alleged assassin of Martin Luther King Jr., was captured. Back in 1968, the body of assassinated U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy is laid to rest in Arlington Cemetery, Arlington National Cemetery. Back in 1969, the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour last broadcast back on CBS TV. Back in 1984, Ghostbusters, American Supernatural Comedy film that premiered that year. Also the same year, Gremlins, American comedy horror film, also released. Okay, in 1984, once again, that's about a year, homosexuality is declared legal in the state of New South Wales in Australia. Back in 1987, the 21st Music City News, that's the country awards, go to Randy Travis. Back in 1993, drag queen RuPaul releases his debut album, Supermodel of the World. In 2011, the 45th CMT Music Awards go to Taylor Swift, Miranda Lambert, and Blake Shelton. In 2014, Andra, we pronounce it Andra, that's A-U-D-R-A, that's Andra McDonald, wins a Tony Award for her portrayal of Billie Holiday in the Lady Day at Emerson Bar and Grill. In 1924, on this day in history, George Kirby was born in Chicago, Illinois, comedian George Kirby. First Lady Barbara Bush was born on this day in 1925 in New York City, and she died April 17th, 2018 at the age of 92. Comedian Jerry Stiller, that's Ben Stiller's dad. Jerry Stiller was born on this day in 1927, also in New York City. He died May 11th in 2020 at the age of 92. Comedian Joan Rivers died on this day. Oh, I'm sorry, she was born on this day in 1933 in Brooklyn, New York, but she died September 4th in 2014 at the age of 81 years old. The cause of death was a cardiac arrest after a series of complications from a procedure on her vocal cords. In 1936, singer-actor James Darren, who played on T.J. Hooker, also on the Gidget movies, and he sang that big hit back in the 60s, Goodbye Cruel World. And he was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's 87 years old today. In 1940, singer Nancy Sinatra. Remember her big hit, These Boots Are Made for Walking. Also, the daughter of Frank Sinatra, was born in Jersey City, New Jersey, and she's 83 years old today. In 1940, singer Sherman Gons of Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. He was the bass vocalist on Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. He was born in New York City. He died in New York City in 1977. In 1944, singer Boz Scaggs with Low Down and Leo Shuffle. Remember those big hits? He was born on this day, and he was born in Canton, Ohio. He's 79 years old today. In 1944, actor Don Gray, who played Robbie Douglas in My Three Sons. He was born in San Diego, California. He passed away 2012. In 1951, singer Bonnie Tyler, who did the big hit Total Eclipse of the Heart. She was born on this day in Skidwood, Neath, Wales. And happy birthday to her. In 1931, singer Johnny Mercer weds chorus girl Ginger Meehan. They got wed in New York City. In 1952, singer actress Judy Garland, she weds producer Sidney Luft, and they got married in Holster, California, and got divorced in 1965 too, from 1952 to 1965. In 1949, I should say, Burgess Meredith, actor Burgess Meredith, divorces his actress wife, Paulette Goddard, and they got divorced after 5 years of marriage. And finally, in 2020, R&B singer Bonnie Pointer of the Pointer Sisters dies at the age of 69 years old. And that's what's happening in this day in history. And if there's something, of course, that you know that happened on this day in history that I didn't mention and you picked up on it and I didn't, please feel free. Type it in there and I will relay it to everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Talk Back Live. It's a show that we get together each Thursday, as you already know, and we get together, all of us. Some of you guys are regulars with us. Some of you guys are newcomers. And we thank you for being along with us. We get together each week and we discuss topics of the day or topics that you want to talk about. And I always say to you guys, if you'd like to join in or partake in conversation, we also love to have you aboard with us. Please do. And I'll see you right there on the big screen. And Brian just gave me some breaking news. And this better be good. He just gave me some breaking news. Number 45 has, well, if you don't know who 45 is, you'll know it when I say 45, number 45, you know who that is. 345/666 Beast Incarnate. To you, he's Donald Trump. He has been indicted on 7 fraud accounts. He's just been indicted. This is the breaking news. Thank you, Brian, for that. That he got that report on CNN. That was reported on CNN. He was indicted, and we knew it was coming. So this is his second indictment. He got indicted for 7 fraud accounts. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this is glee. I don't look at it as gleeful. You know, I don't want to look at it that way, but I'm just bringing the news to you. Brian just related to me. Number 45, 345/666 Beast Incarnate. You don't know who that is? To you, you know him as Donald Trump. Has been indicted on 7 fraudulent accounts. So there you go. We'll get more, if whatever comes down, if we hear more, we'll tell you more about it. All right. So we all knew it was coming anyway. We all knew it was coming. And that's not the end of it. There's more. So strap in, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. And just like that guy, his friend that has that podcast, that creepy podcast of his, what's his name? Bannon, Steve Bannon. You know, where was his words? It's going to be a bumpy ride. Was that his words? Is that how he said it? Was it exactly, I mean, the day before January 6th, day before that? Well, it's going to be a wild day. Well, anyway, that's the news, and we'll repeat that a little later on for you. So thank you, Brian, for that information. And those of you, I want to mention this, those of you who don't want to partake in conversation or anything like that, but still would like to get in touch with me, there's an easy way to do it. I have two sources. I have my email address and my telephone number. And all you have to do is apply yourself. Let me give you the email address first. The email address is frankallanprod@aol.com. Frank Allan. Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N. That's an important factor. Otherwise, you'll never get in touch with me. That's A-L-L-A-N. Prod is P-R-O-D. That's short for Productions. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Telephone number 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Again, that's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. You can use either one of those or both if you prefer, and you can get in touch with me. And they may be something that you want to talk about in particular, that you want to talk about on the air with us, or maybe you want to critique the show, or maybe you have ideas about the show, or maybe you want to know more about the show and the history of it all, or what we do here and how we got started and why we're here. Okay, I'll answer all those questions because I do have the answer to all of those questions. You can get in touch with me and we can talk about it. And you may, again, want to suggest something about the show. Maybe there's a special guest that you want to see on the show. And we'll try our best to get that. We'll do that. Whatever you say, we'll do. Oh, well, some of the things we'll say. I mean, I have to take control of the show myself, but be reasonable. But anyway, let me give you that email address again. It's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Or the telephone number, once again, is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Later on, not too far away, I'm going to give you all of those, give you that information on all of the movies that I have, my picks of the week for your weekend, in case you want to watch something. And I have the movies to add to your bucket list of what to watch this weekend. You know, I want to go back to earlier when I was talking about, we already mentioned the death of Astrud Gilberto. She was the Brazilian singer, and I mentioned it earlier on the show, and just in case you're just joining us, and of course, if you didn't know about it, but I'm sure you did, but we're just relaying the information now. She passed away this past Tuesday, I believe it was. I read it off earlier. Let me go back and make sure that's right. She passed away. Let me make sure that's right. Let me see. Monday. I'm sorry. She passed away Monday at the age of 83 years old. And I wanted to talk about her because she was the innovator of, she brought, as far as I'm concerned, she brought this music to this country, to all of us here, and got us to enjoy it. And because I remember growing up as a kid, you know, you have this peer pressure, and you were only allowed by your peers to listen to a certain kind of music. But I was always universal when it came to music. And I got to love, and maybe because of the fact that even by the time I got to college, I enjoyed different kinds of music more, because I got to college and I majored in music, and I indulged in this class called music appreciation, which of course you get a chance to listen to all of the symphonies and the masters of music, back as they call them back in those days, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and all of those people, Chopin, and all of those great musical artists from the music scene of classical music. And I just got to enjoy all kinds of music. Even today, I got to enjoy all kinds of music. And Bossa Nova was one of the great ones. I remember listening to, they had a radio station here in New York, where we are right now. The radio station at that time was called WHN. And they played what they called back then, in the early days of WHN, they had what they used to call it like beautiful music. And it was music that you would like hear in the elevator. Today they call it music, beautiful music, but today they switch off the names. It's no longer Beautiful Music now. It's called not elevator music, but there's another name for it. I just can't remember it offhand. But you had music like Andre Castellana, and you had, again, they played the Brazilian music of Antonio Carlos Jobim, and of course Astor Gilberto, and all of these great sounds they used to play on the radio. And Brazilian music was one of the greatest things that she brought here for us to enjoy. So I just wanted to bring that out, that this is the lady, as far as I'm concerned, along with Antonio Carlos Jobim, brought this music to us here in the United States to enjoy. Of course, it all started in Brazil, but they brought it here, and it became, after that, it just became a national treasure. And it became global. All around the world, people are loving this kind of music. It's really great music, and I enjoyed it today. And I'm so glad that she's no longer with us, even, and I want to put it that way. I'm so glad, even though she's no longer with us, I'm so glad she left us the legacy of this great music that we could enjoy for years and years and years. And people like Stan Getz, who was a jazz musician, he played tenor sax. He got to the realm of Brazilian music, and collaborating with Antonio Carlos Jobim and Astor Gilberto, and Astor Gilberto's husband, Joel Gilberto. She was once married to him, and she collaborated with her husband, and of course Stan Getz, and then later on Antonio Carlos Jobim, and all of these great Brazilian artists. And now these young Brazilian artists are coming along, and they're jumping in on it. And I just hope that they keep the tradition alive and not change the tradition of this music, because it's great music and I enjoy this music. But that WHN radio brought that music here, and it was great music. It's great music. And when they called it beautiful music back in those days. But now it's all popular music, and even now, Brazilian music drifted into the pop category, and it's just great music. So I just thank Astor Gilberto for all of she's done to bring this great music to us. Okay, and so there you have it. And again, ladies and gentlemen, and just in case you're just joining us once again, Brian gave us the information, and if he finds out any more, then I'm pretty sure they'll elaborate on more when it goes on. Number 45, 345/666, Beast Incarnate, to you known as Donald Trump, has been indicted. He has been indicted on 7 fraud accounts. 7, count them, 7 fraud accounts. And I believe the fraud, we'll have to find out what the frauds were. We don't know if it has to do with the documents. That's probably what it is. Brian didn't mention that. It's just 7 fraud accounts. We got to find out what those fraud accounts were, what they had to do with it. Fraud accounts where? Maybe his business, but that was the New York thing, wasn't it? When he came to New York, about his business, his fraud business or whatever it was. This is something else now. So he's been indicted for the second time. 2 times he's been indicted. And I just want to take a page from the book of one of my broadcast colleagues who broadcast on MSNBC, Nicole Wallace. I just want to take it from her page. I watch her show a lot, and I just want to take from her page, take a page from her book, and just say, he is known as this disgrace. This is how she put it. Now I can just paraphrase because I may not get it right. She calls him disgrace And she says 1 time indicted, but now we could say 2 times indicted. And of course, charged, of course, with sexual harassment, right? And she also refers to him as the ex-president. But as far as I'm concerned, the past, when we did those 4 years, my opinion is when he did those 4 years, this country went on autopilot. And I'm just telling it just like it is. This country went on autopilot. Now, they say that even if he winds up in jail, he can still conduct his campaign. If he went to jail today or tomorrow, he can still conduct his campaign from jail. We see. And then while we're on the subject, we gotta realize that Chris Christie threw his hat in the ring. And of course, Mike Pence threw his hat in the ring. So they made their announcements this week that they're running for president of the United States. And there was a question that was brought out to Mike Pence this week, asking if he were elected president of the United States, would he pardon 345/66 Beast Incarnate? And he would not answer that question. And he just said, I just don't want to get into hypothetical questions. Now that's a cop-out if I ever heard one. I don't want to get into hypothetical questions. That's a cop-out if I ever heard one. You got to remember, this is the man, Mike Pence, in his own little way, called for your execution in his own little way. I didn't say it directly call for execution, but in his own little way. And if he didn't, in his own little way, call for your execution, he didn't try to stop it. Because remember the chant, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. They had that noose up there, hang Mike Pence, and they were looking for him. Okay, and he also said, this throws out a bad signal to the American people if they indict a former president. So if that's the case, let's say if he was indicted and charged, you mean to tell me that they shouldn't indict him? They really shouldn't, even though he's guilty? I don't know. And to be on the other side of this whole thing, if Mike Pence wants to run for president, he has to realize too, he's got to serve people. But you notice he uses that Trump term, the radical left. The same thing with DeSantis. I don't know DeSantis' last name anymore. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but you get the idea. They want to get rid of the radical left. Aren't the radical left, as you call them, people, American people that deserve to be served by the president of the United States just as well as the Republicans? You think about that, and think about this too. We've got movies. I just want to move on to better things. I want to talk about these movies too, ladies and gentlemen. I have movies coming up that I think you're going to like this week, and we're going to get them started right away. There's a few, not much, but here we go. I have 3 this week, and let's get started right away. I have Valley of the Dolls is coming up in 1967, starring Barbara Perkins, Patty Duke, and Sharon Tate. That's coming on Turner Classic Movies this Friday at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. We also have A Hard Day's Night, 1964, The Beatles, of course, starring in that. That's all Turner Classic Movies. You can catch that on Sunday at 2:30 a.m. That's overnight, 2:30 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning, 2:30 a.m. Eastern. And musicals, if you like, The Flower Drum Song from 1961, starring Nancy Kwan. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. That's on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check all your time zones, make sure you're on the right page, because we gave you all the time zones in Eastern. You can also go on Turner Classic Movies and check out all of the movies that, of course, they may be movies there that I didn't mention, but they were my picks, and these are my picks. So I hope you enjoy these movies, and of course, I hope I think you will. I think you'll like them. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I am out of here. I am going to leave you, but I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for the coffee hour. Brian Camp will be with me. And of course, we'll have more conversations, and we'll have coffee and donuts and the whole 9 yards and talk more about all of the topics of the day. Other than that, I'll be back here on next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more Talk Back Live. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, and of course, Brian, of course, with sports, and we'll be here and we'll be doing all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, until then, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, you have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wear your mask and stay safe and stay warm. And I love you all. Take care of yourself. Good night.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host, Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant, Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer, Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.